Hey all, happy Tuesday everyone. I just wanted to make a few comments, kind of some end of the semester. Not that we're close, we're really only a month in, but I just kind of wanted to walk you through some things and kind of give you the lay of the land in terms of the next couple months. So tomorrow you have the last part of your hazard assessment tool, part 3 that is due. Now the intention and the hope is that you have been turning in your uh, vulnerability tool each week, and each week you have been improving on that based on what your peers have told you. And if your peers haven't been giving you very good information, you have reached out to me and we have discussed it and you have better information. So again, when I go and review all these, it will be at the end, and I will take into account how much information you gave to your peers, how much information you changed in your vulnerability and assessment tool, how applicable the tool is. And at this point, you guys, the emergency operation plan for your specific city should be in your sources. That should be a staple, as should the emergency operations website for your particular city. Those two things are paramount, and quite honestly, you should be able to get the majority of your information from those sites. So at the beginning, this is part of the learning process as far as like where should you go for information on these types of things. And by far, the biggest and best resource should be the city's, you should be using the city's resources. And even one better is call the city and ask them about the hazard. Who knows better than what hazards are happening in their city than the actual city's emergency management office? So again, this isn't something I give away early on, but as you go and as you've been going on, if you have reached out to me, I've certainly given you that information. But at this point, that information needs to be a staple. And many of you can go into the emergency operation plans and look and see what they've identified as their major hazards and then what you've done. Now, the interesting thing about these different emergency operation plans per city is while the federal government does give templates and whatnot to the actual cities, the cities are not mandated to complete these. It is tied to certain funding, so more cities are doing it than less, but the rate at which these are updated slash valid, that those things remain in question. So a really, really great final project might have something like the EOP cited, the actual PDF document cited, and a link to it. The emergency management website would be cited, and even a phone call. And you could cite the actual phone call to just make sure that all the information that you have is in fact correct. What better source than those three, you guys? Okay, so there are the hints for all that. So again, I will not be offering feedback on that until the end. But those resources that I just gave you should help you tie everything together. Again, these are the people that do this for a living. They have assessed what disasters are happening in their area. And if you guys have found this source before without me telling you about it, then you've already had this wealth of information. You won't have to drill down the actual forms. That's what has like the numbers and the ratings. But you can pretty much line up things, and it will certainly help you with your final project. So take a look at those, cite those, use those, update your information, help your teammates on those. And then again, if you have not gotten the feedback that you wanted, you should be able to use the resources I just told you about or contact me so we can get this tightened up. So there should be no surprises on the chapter takeaways, you guys. I'm not even going to go into the major components of that. I think I've talked that one to death. You do have 3 more chapter takeaways after this past week, and then you have 3 FEMA exercises. So the next 4 weeks should be pretty easy, you guys. Just go on and knock those things out. But then you also want to make the chapter takeaways interesting. And I mean, have you found something in your assessment tools that you want to explore further that are tied to the chapter? That kind of thing. I'll even entertain you guys if you wanted to look for a job that wasn't tied to, let's say, for the next chapter of preparedness. Like, again, make this of use to you. Don't just make it something that you have to do, because it's more useful for you if you actually want to be in this field to learn something. So make it useful. So there's that, and then we jump into the reading journals, which I've given you examples for that on the website too. And so why am I, okay, so those are more like opinions, feelings, no citations necessary, not at all. So it's like a chapter takeaway, but not scholarly. I just want you to tell me your thoughts and emotions. This is why, actually, for the, I have you put the chapter takeaways here, but for the reading journals, I just have you submit them right to me. So, I really do want, feelings or emotions that you didn't want to put on the discussion board for everybody to see if you're okay with me reading them. And I say that, you're like, what are you talking about? Feelings and emotions. You'll see. The book is like, it just asks for experiences and that kind of stuff. It's not woo woo. But again, if you didn't want to put all that stuff for all your classmates to see, I have made it to where you submit it via assignments where I look at. So why do I say all this? Yes, you've had a lot of work up until now. You know, in terms of grading, workload, there's been a lot. But now it really does, after you make this final push for your hazard and vulnerability tool, it winds down. And the end is near. And I said that again, it's not the end is near, but it becomes what I like to front load classes. So yes, there's a lot of work. It happens quickly. But then you get to I wouldn't say take a break, but it becomes a lot more manageable. And then just one note on grades, you guys. So yes, I have to assign grades because we're in college, and this is also an online class, so I can't observe everyone coming to class on time and this, that, and the other. But in terms of when I give you grades, even on the chapter takeaways, again, I have to assign grades because we're in college. But at the end of the semester, if you've made vast improvement, if you've turned things in on time and done what I consider, and that's like a minimum, that's the minimum bar, is turning things in on time. But if you've improved, if you've done better on your hazard and vulnerability tool and those types of things, I take all of this into consideration at the end. So don't think just because you're getting two out of three on one chapter takeaway that all is lost. I'll bet I will say that if you're not earning full credit on the chapter takeaways by now, then something is off. And that's a reflection of either not putting enough time in, waiting until the last minute, or not doing the bare bones in terms of what's put forth in the rubric. So anyway, that being said, I think that is all for now. Let me know if you have any questions or comments. Okay, well, have a great rest of the week, you guys. Bye-bye.